I'm Nancy Smith, and I'm a professor and dean here at the University at Buffalo School of Social Work. I want to talk a little bit about what's unique about our program, which is our trauma-informed and human rights perspective, which as soon as people hear those words, they usually go, okay, that sounds good, but what does that mean?
When social workers embrace a trauma-informed and human rights perspective, it really changes the way that we do our social work practice.
When we try to help people with our best of intentions, we can hurt them because we don't always understand things from the perspective of the person who's lived through those experiences. So trauma-informed is about really understanding the experiences of people, how it affects them. It's not about what's wrong with them, it's about what's happened to them. And then what does that mean for the best way to help them?
I feel strongly that as social workers, our calling is to not only work towards providing really quality services that we know our communities need, but also be working to kind of push the needle on human rights issues and public health crises. It's so necessary that we're in touch with trauma-informed care and human rights.
Now that I'm out and I'm working with different healthcare professionals, I definitely see the importance of how trauma-informed care plays a part in the healthcare profession, within the organizations, and how putting that trauma-informed care process into those organizations ultimately helps the individuals and the caregivers that we're serving.
But we also felt that it was really essential to include a human rights perspective in this, a global human rights perspective.
A human rights perspective is an important addition to a trauma-informed perspective because that has us think about the larger societal context in which our clients live.
So combining these perspectives became an important part of what we think everybody needs to know to be a social worker, whether you are doing counseling, whether you are running agencies, whether you're designing new programs or designing and analyzing social policy, that these perspectives really create a paradigm switch for social work. And then within that, we teach everything else that social work schools do because we think we're an awesome profession, that we train people to do all sorts of roles, not just social service roles, but that these two additional, what I would call value-added perspectives, put our students in a position of being true leaders in their organizations and communities, sometimes when they're students and usually often immediately upon graduation. And every faculty member brings these things together in a slightly different way, so it's not that there's one sort of perspective we're teaching to everyone, but we're bringing both of these lenses to everything else that social work does.